Have you ever stopped to think that maybe you aren't the owner of your thoughts? It might seem absurd, but while you believe you're thinking, you're actually listening. Yes, listening to that incessant voice that narrates your life, criticizes your choices, and brings up uncomfortable memories. And the most intriguing part, that voice isn't you. It's just a soundtrack, sometimes out of tune, that accompanies your journey. Imagine the relief of freeing yourself from this mental chatter and finding a space of peace and clarity. Curious? Then get ready for a transformation that promises to shake your deepest beliefs and bring a real connection with your spirituality, esotericism, and even occultism. The voice in your head is like a radio that never turns off. It plays incessantly, narrating every moment of your life, repeating old dramas, and weaving critiques that don't always help. This voice may seem like yours, but it's not. You are the listener. Imagine watching a movie. The story unfolds, but you're not the character, you're the one watching. Recognizing this is the first step to separating yourself from this constant narration. Start by observing your own mind for 5 minutes daily, without judgment, just noticing the thoughts that appear and disappear. This practice could be the beginning of a liberating change. Have you ever wondered why some decisions seem so difficult? It's like two voices are fighting for reason. One side argues with logic, the other with emotion. However, these voices are not you. You are the consciousness that perceives this inner dialogue. Practice this the next time you're undecided. Pause, take a deep breath, and say to yourself, I'm listening, I'm not this voice. This creates a healthy distance between you and the mental chatter. Over time, this observation leads to more clarity and less confusion. A simple example. Think about the last time you felt anxious before an important commitment. Your mind probably brought a whirlwind of what ifs. What if it goes wrong? What if I'm not good enough? By realizing that these thoughts are just echoes of past experiences or unreal fears, you begin to weaken their power. Next time, visualize those thoughts as passing clouds. Acknowledge them, but don't cling to them. Just mentally say, I see you, but I'll continue on my path. A good metaphor to understand this is imagining yourself as a blue sky. Your thoughts are the clouds that come and go. Sometimes they are white and light, other times heavy and gray. But the sky, your essence, remains unchanged. This practice connects you to something deeper, something that transcends the daily noise of the mind. From this, your spirituality takes on new meaning, as you discover there is something eternal and unchanging within you. By recognizing that you are not your thoughts, the door opens to explore deeper concepts like esotericism and occultism. These practices often teach us to look inward and decipher the mysteries of the mind and soul. Guided meditations, such as those based on chakras or conscious breathing, help silence mental chatter. In addition, writing a journal can be a practical way to observe and better understand this inner voice. From the moment you begin to consciously listen to your thoughts, instead of being dominated by them, you discover a new level of freedom. It's like adjusting the volume of background music. It's still there, but it no longer defines your experience. This practice requires patience and consistency, but the results are worth it. You will start living with more presence, clarity, and purpose, opening space to explore themes like spirituality, esotericism, and occultism with a renewed perspective. Let's now move on to the next step in this journey. Imagine for a moment that your mind is a turbulent river, full of unpredictable currents. The constant noise of thoughts is like the moving water. But what if you could step back and observe the river from the shore? This simple act of observation transforms the experience. The thoughts lose their power, and silence begins to emerge. To practice, try meditating for 5 minutes a day, focusing solely on your breath. When you notice thoughts arising, label them worry, planning, memory, and return your focus. This practice creates an inner space that is deeply liberating. The idea of observing your thoughts without judging them may seem simple, but it is incredibly powerful. Think about the last time something upset you. Maybe it was a delay or a rude comment. As you observe the situation, notice that the irritation arises from a thought, not the event itself. Recognizing this pattern is liberating. A practical technique is the mindful pause. When your mind feels full, stop, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, why am I holding on to this? Usually, you'll discover there's no real reason to keep fueling that noise. A good metaphor for this practice is a starry sky. Even on the most turbulent nights, the stars remain there, hidden by clouds. Inner silence and peace are always present, but often obscured by mental noise. Allowing yourself to observe without reacting is like moving those clouds aside. This is a common practice in spiritual and esoteric traditions. In occultism, for example, a clear mind is essential to reaching deeper levels of understanding and connection. This clarity not only calms but allows your intuition to flourish. For those who struggle with an overactive mind, specific techniques can help. One example is the use of mantras. Simple words or phrases such as "I am peace" or "Om Shanti," repeated silently, help focus the mind and reduce the noise. Another practical approach is journaling. Writing freely about the thoughts that are disturbing, you can act as a mental detox. Release it onto paper, and you'll feel a lightness in your soul. Combine this with deep breathing, and you'll have a powerful tool for moments of stress. This mental stillness is not a luxury. It is a necessity in today's world. When your mind is constantly full, decisions become confusing, emotions weigh heavier, and the connection to spirituality is lost. True freedom arises when you realize you don't have to believe everything your mind says. Try questioning thoughts like, "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never succeed." This simple practice, called self-inquiry, dissolves the unreal stories the mind creates. In occultism, many practices begin with the idea of clearing the mind because it's in this space that the greatest revelations occur. When you observe your thoughts without reacting, you create a vacuum where wisdom can emerge. This vacuum is not empty. It is full of potential. It is no coincidence that great minds, such as Nikola Tesla, advocated for moments of deep silence to achieve their most revolutionary ideas. Freeing yourself from mental noise is the gateway to something greater. Now let's explore how this helps us deal with emotions. Feelings are like guests in your house. They come, stay for a while, and then leave. The problem is, often we cling to them, turning temporary visitors into permanent tenants. Think about the last time you felt sadness or anger. How long did you dwell on those emotions? Understanding that they are temporary is already half the battle. To manage them better, try practices like the emotional wave meditation. Visualize each emotion as a wave in the sea. Let it come, grow, and finally dissolve on the shore. This simple exercise helps release the weight that emotions carry. It's important to remember that emotions are not enemies. They are messengers. When you feel anxiety, your body may be warning you about something that needs attention. Ignoring or repressing them only strengthens their power. Instead, welcome your emotions with curiosity. Ask yourself, what are you trying to show me? A good example of this is reflective writing. Take 10 minutes to write as if you're having a conversation with the emotion. You'll be surprised by the responses that emerge. In the context of occultism, emotions have a deep connection with the body's energy. Practices like Reiki or energy cleansing with crystals help balance these forces. Try holding an amethyst during moments of distress. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and imagine the energy of the stone purifying your emotional field. This type of approach, although esoteric, can be extremely comforting for those seeking inner harmony. Another effective method is physical movement. When we feel strong emotions like anger or sadness, our bodies accumulate that energy. Dancing, running, or even going for a mindful walk helps release these blockages. An interesting technique is the fire ritual. Write down everything that is emotionally weighing on you, then burn the paper with the intention of letting it go. Simple, but incredibly liberating. For emotions to flow, it's necessary to learn not to resist them. Resist, and they will persist. Accept, and they will dissolve. Acceptance is not passivity. It's recognizing what you feel without fully identifying with it. Remember, you feel anger, but you are not anger. You feel sadness, but you are not sadness. This shift in perspective is liberating and deeply aligned with the principles of spirituality. When emotions stop being burdens and start being allies, something magical happens. You feel lighter, more present, and more connected to your essence. This emotional fluidity is a bridge to exploring themes like esotericism and occultism on a deeper level. After all, it is in a free heart that the greatest spiritual truths are revealed. Next, we'll see how letting go of control can bring even more freedom. The pursuit of control is like trying to hold sand in your hand. The tighter you grip, the more it slips through your fingers. Life, in its essence, is unpredictable, and it's this unpredictability that makes it so fascinating. Accepting this may feel daunting at first, but it is liberating. Imagine how light it would feel to trust in the flow of life rather than fighting against it. Try a simple practice. Choose one day a week to live without planning. Let the day guide you without resistance. At first, it may feel strange, but soon you'll realize how naturally life flows. Letting go of control doesn't mean relinquishing responsibility. It means stopping the fight against the inevitable. Imagine a river. It flows effortlessly, maneuvering around rocks, changing direction when necessary, but always moving forward. When we resist, we become like logs trapped in the current. To start practicing this surrender, try trusting small moments in your day. For example, if traffic is at a standstill, instead of complaining, use the time to take deep breaths or listen to an inspiring audiobook. It's a daily practice that transforms your relationship with unpredictability. In occultism, there is a central idea that true power comes from surrendering to the universal flow. Many esoteric rituals, like meditation with the moon, involve this surrender. During the next full moon, try writing down on a piece of paper the things you feel you need to control but cannot. Burn the paper, watching the smoke carry away your concerns. This symbolic gesture, combined with intention, has a profound psychological impact, helping you release what holds you back. One of the great benefits of letting go of control is the emotional relief it brings. By accepting that not everything is in our hands, we reduce the weight of expectations. This allows us to live with more ease and authenticity. For example, instead of overly worrying about the future, focus on practices of gratitude in the present. Write down 3 things you're grateful for every day. This simple practice shifts your perspective, taking the focus off what you want to control and placing it on what you already have. It's important to remember that letting go of control is an ongoing exercise. Life, in its essence, is a cycle of ups and downs. Trying to control everything is like trying to avoid the changing seasons. By embracing this fluidity, you find a peace that transcends the temporary challenges. A helpful metaphor is that of the sailor. He doesn't control the wind, but adjusts the sails to harness its power. Instead of resisting, learn to work with what life gives you, adjusting your course as needed. Letting go of control is, at its core, an act of faith. Faith in life, faith in the universe, faith in something greater than yourself. This surrender is not a weakness. It is a powerful strength. It is an invitation to dance with life, instead of fighting against it. And by doing so, you open yourself to experiences you never imagined possible. With this newfound lightness, let's explore how living with an open heart can amplify this transformation even further. Living with an open heart is an act of courage, as it involves embracing vulnerability. It's accepting that life, with its joys and pains, is a complete package. Think of a flower blooming. As it opens its petals, it not only receives light and warmth, but it is also exposed to rain and wind. This openness allows life to touch it deeply. To begin, try expressing gratitude or affection to someone close to you, expecting nothing in return. A simple "I appreciate you" can transform not only the person's day, but also your own. When we live with a closed heart, we protect ourselves, but we also isolate ourselves. The fear of being hurt creates barriers that prevent us from experiencing the fullness of life. To break this cycle, practice self-compassion. Instead of criticizing yourself for past mistakes, ask, if this were my best friend in this situation, what would I say to them? Treat yourself with the same kindness you offer others. This daily practice strengthens your ability to open up to the world with more confidence. In the spiritual and esoteric context, living with an open heart is deeply connected to the heart chakra. This energy center governs our emotions and connections. To balance it, try meditating with a green crystal, like aventurine, or listening to music at 528 Hz frequencies, known for promoting love and healing. These simple rituals create a vibration of openness that attracts more love and kindness into your life. Living with an open heart also means accepting impermanence. People come and go, good and bad moments pass, but the essence of life remains. Instead of resisting, embrace these changes as parts of a natural cycle. Try writing a gratitude letter to someone who impacted your life, even if that person has already passed. This act of love releases accumulated emotions and strengthens your connection to spirituality. Opening the heart connects us more deeply with the world around us. Try this in practice. Take a moment to observe nature. Notice how each leaf, each ray of sunlight, seems to vibrate with life. This contemplation teaches us that life is not about perfection, but about presence. The love you feel for a flower, for example, doesn't require it to last forever. The same applies to our human connections. When we live with an open heart, each moment becomes an opportunity for growth and connection. You become more receptive to love, more willing to forgive, and more able to live fully. This new approach also prepares us to explore the next level of inner freedom. Now let's move toward the conclusion of this journey, understanding how to unite these concepts into an experience of true inner peace. True freedom is not found outside of us, but within. It is the state of being where thoughts, emotions, and the desire for control cease to be our masters, becoming only tools. Imagine carrying a backpack full of stones you've accumulated throughout life. Some are fears, others are expectations, and still others are regrets. True freedom is the moment you choose to set that backpack down. To begin, try asking yourself, do I really need to carry this? Often, we'll realize that we hold on out of habit, not necessity. Observing thoughts and accepting emotions as fleeting creates the fertile ground for this freedom. When you stop identifying with everything you think and feel, a space of inner silence emerges where peace flourishes. Think of the last time you worried about something that, in the end, didn't happen. How much energy was wasted for nothing? A practical technique is the observer's meditation. Sit in silence and imagine that your thoughts are like clouds passing in the sky. Watch them pass without judgment or attachment, just observing. In esotericism, achieving inner freedom is seen as the first step toward true enlightenment. Occult practices, such as active meditation or purification rituals, aim to help us transcend the limits imposed by the mind. Try a simple ritual. At the end of the day, light a candle and dedicate a few minutes to reflect on what emotionally or mentally held you back that day. Imagine the flame dissolving those binds. When the candle goes out, feel the lightness of leaving it behind. True freedom is also in accepting that we don't need to be perfect or please everyone. Many of us carry the need for approval like a heavy armor. Ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped trying to please everyone? At first, this may seem challenging, but gradually you'll realize that pleasing yourself is the greatest act of freedom. To help with this process, try the practice of no. Say no politely but firmly when something doesn't resonate with your inner truth. This reinforces your autonomy and strengthens your essence. True freedom also means letting go of the stories we've created about ourselves. I'm not capable, I'll never make it, or this isn't for me are just narratives, not truths. Questioning these stories is essential. A powerful exercise is to write down all the limiting beliefs you have about yourself on one page. Then, on another page, write counter-evidence. You'll see that most of these beliefs are not based on solid ground. This practice helps to deconstruct mental barriers and frees up space for new possibilities. When you combine the observation of thoughts, the acceptance of emotions, and the surrender to the flow of life, true freedom emerges as a natural state of being. You feel lighter, more connected to yourself and the universe around you. This journey has no end because each day is a new opportunity to deepen your experience of freedom. With an open heart and a clear mind, you are ready to explore the deepest mysteries of spirituality, esotericism, and occultism, bringing this wisdom into every aspect of your life. Life is so much more than we think it is, literally. If you follow this journey, you realize that thinking is, in fact, listening, that emotions flow when we allow them, that letting go of control is not weakness, but courage, that an open heart is the key to deep connections, and that true freedom is an inner state. Now, it's up to you. What are you willing to do to transform your life? The first step is always the hardest, but it is also the most powerful. Ask yourself, are you willing to observe your mind like never before? Are you ready to let go of the emotional weight that holds you back? And what if you allowed yourself today to let go of control? Try it. Experiment with one of these practices and see how it transforms not only your day but your spirit. Leave the keyword freedom in the comments so we can activate the energy of prosperity and positive change in your life. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and share this knowledge with someone who needs to hear it. After all, we are here to evolve together, one step at a time.